liftoff and the clock has started.
Welcome to episode 5 of the Tesla Time podcast, the UK Tesla Unofficial Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Winter, and on this week's show, Tesla announces its stonking Q2 performance both globally and in the UK. We discuss the latest news on the CyberTruck and what the UK can expect from this behemoth of a vehicle. And of course, it wouldn't be a Tesla podcast without an FSD update from Elon. Along with much, much more, stick with me because it's that time again. It's Tesla time. Tesla time indeed. Now, lots to get through this week, so we're going to jump straight in with the first headline, which is FSD is coming soon again. So last week we talked about FSD and where it's currently at. We're obviously waiting for this version 9 beta to come to our FSD activated vehicles, and this is part of that City Streets development that we discussed. Now, Elon has said that this will be coming out in just 2 weeks' time for about 9 months now. But we've got another update from Elon, and actually, do you know what? Joking aside, this one is a lot more specific, and I'm hoping therefore it holds a little bit more weight. So in a response to Tesla owners of Silicon Valley, Elon took to Twitter this week to say, quote, releasing beta end of week, end quote. He then actually went on to clarify and say that that's actually going to be on Saturday. When asked by others on Twitter whether it will include this new and improved AI, Elon had this to say, quote, improved FSD screen attempting to show the mind of the car, end quote. So what he's talking about here is if you've seen the videos online of the very select few driving version 9 beta, the visualizer on the screen looks really I guess beta-y, right? There's lots of lines and colours. It's not pretty. It's not kind of customer friendly, but the car drives itself. So, who really cares, right? But it sounds like this broader beta, which is going to be coming out to a lot more people, is going to come with a better UI visualizer, which should give it that user-friendly feel. Nevertheless, Tesla owners of Silicon Valley did a great job of not letting him go, keeping it, holding him to his word, getting more information out of him. And eventually Elon responded to them again saying, quote, beta 9 will start uploading midnight California time on Friday. Bear in mind, it is just a beta, end quote. So although this is yet another timeline update from Elon, so, pinch of salt, this is certainly the most specific he has been around the release of this beta version 9. I do think we should cut him some slack, right? Elon and Tesla together are trying to do something that no one's ever been able to do. No one's been able to provide level 4 autonomy in a widely distributed manner in our cars. So, I think the mountain, the AI mountain that Elon and Tesla are climbing is probably bigger and taller than Elon ever expected. So, let's cut him some slack there. If you have the FSD package in your car and you are going to agree to the T's and C's and download this beta, Elon has doubled down on this. Bear in mind, it is just a beta, is what he's saying. And I guess just to echo that, this is not going to be perfect. This is not going to be, groundbreaking, unbelievable technology that you've never seen before. It is still going to be kind of an assistant to your driving, but it's going to be a lot more developed than what we're used to. Having said that, I think the Tesla community understand that and appreciate that's kind of how things work with Tesla. And I do just want to show you this clip, because there's a guy on YouTube, and I recommend you go and check him out, a guy who runs a channel called Dirty Tesla, and he has the version 9 beta, and he's done a great clip of like his first drive and his reactions on his first drive. Take a listen to this.
Amazing. Wow, it's so weird. It's just so weird. The car's just like doing it all. Wow, it's doing it. Okay, that was very good. Wow, look at that intersection. It sees everything. Looks like it's gonna do it. It knows it's, wow. Okay, it's already doing a lot better than I thought. And there's a newspaper on the ground. Oh, it dodged it at the last second. Nice complete stop. And we continue. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. Like, it's just so good.
You can just hear that, that childhood excitement in his voice, that boyhood kind of, this is insane. And don't forget, this is happening, go and like and subscribe to his YouTube channel, Dirty Tesla. this is happening in a car that he's owned, right? He's had the car for, I don't know, he's had the car for a year, say, and he's got in it one day and he's got the version 9 beta, and it's just changed the entire user experience of the vehicle. And you can just feel that energy and that excitement. So I wanted to share that with you. Listen, we'll obviously stay on top of any news that comes out of the world of Tesla in terms of FSD. And if Elon's timelines are correct here, that's a big if, perhaps next week we'll be getting some more reactions from real world drivers in and around the globe on FSD version 9. I'm really looking forward to hearing UK drivers reacting to it, because as we know, UK roads are very different, layout wise and, rules and stuff to US roads. I mean, roundabouts is, really important. It's got to nail roundabouts. So yeah, let's wait and see, and hopefully we'll have some more reactions next week. We'll have to stay tuned for that. Next up, Tesla announces its Q2 delivery numbers, and oh boy, they are good. They are very good. So before I jump into the numbers, just to give you a bit of a heads up on kind of the timeline of events and how Tesla record their successes and failures and then present them to the market and present them to their shareholders. So, of course, at the end of each quarter, we see a big push to get as many cars out of the factory and in customers' hands as quickly as possible before that quarter deadline ends. And that's why last week I made a conscious effort of wishing every Tesla employee that listens a huge good luck, because it is a bit of a head down and just get through it moment. Then what happens, the quarter ends, the dust kind of settles for a week or two. Tesla go into something they call blackout, which is where they're effectively calculating all the numbers, all the cars, leaving all the factories and all the geographies, right? And this is kind of where we're at now, because then Tesla will announce their car delivery numbers for the quarter just gone. Now, it is worth noting, by the way, because I know some people have got in contact with the show who don't have a Tesla, but are, they're researching or they're saving up for a Tesla. So I do just want to point out, if you are looking at getting yourself a Tesla, they will want you to take delivery within quarter, okay? So it doesn't matter about hitting the reserve button online or, signing paperwork or transferring of funds. It's all about getting your bum in the seat of your new Tesla. That's what Tesla measure their success on, okay? So, haggling isn't really a thing that exists in the world of Tesla. The sales reps aren't on quotas or commissions, which, by the way, makes the whole sales process a lot more, a lot less stressful, I should say. But they are going to want you, if you hit the reserve button in, I don't know, let's just say January, they're going to want to have you in your car before the end of March, for example, right? So just bear that in mind. So anyway, and then once the delivery numbers have been released, Tesla will host something they call a quarterly earnings call with its shareholders. This is a public call. It usually takes place kind of, I guess, at the end of the first month following the quarter. So in terms of looking back at Q2, we haven't had the quarterly earnings call date confirmed yet. But if history is to go by, I would expect, I'm just looking at the calendar, you can expect it around week commencing the 26th of July, I think is a safe bet. And by the way, I will be plugged into that. I will be clipping it and bringing you kind of all the news off the back of this quarter's earning call. So watch out for that episode. That should be a good one. So in terms of the numbers, so they've now released the numbers for the deliveries between the months of April, May and June. So first of all, just to give you a bit of a heads up, Elon gave Tesla a target, and that target was 200,000 vehicles delivered, okay? So it's split here. They split their numbers into two categories, models S's and X's, and models 3s and Ys. So for S's and X's, they delivered a total of 1,890 Model S's and Model X's in that 3-month period. Of course, a very low number, but as we know, these models have just been refreshed. So this will just kind of be like available inventory, and we know that they are ramping up, Model S Plaid and the new Model S long range deliveries, but things are a little bit, so that number was always going to be quite small. But listen to this, right? Model 3s and Ys globally, Tesla delivered this quarter 199,360 Model 3s and Ys. That means their total cars delivered was 201,250 this quarter. That is, honestly, that's incredible. So first of all, the hardworking people at Tesla hit that 200,000 target that Elon set with actually wiggle room as well, with 1,200 odd wiggle room. So they smashed that target really. And just to put that in perspective for you, in terms of the size of this achievement, right, they have delivered this quarter double the amount of cars that they delivered in Q2 of last year. Last year, by the way, their annual target for the whole year of 2020 was 500,000 cars delivered. This year, they're already 80% towards that figure. So they've already done 80% of their annual quota in just 6 months, which is incredible as well. And they've done this during a pandemic, during a global part shortage, which is, causing huge amounts of pressure on all different business sectors. And they've done it without being able to lean on half of their product offering in the Model S and X, which is why the Model S's and X's only accounted for 1% of its deliveries in Q2. It's honestly incredible. Now, the 2021 target, if we kind of take a step back and look at this year as a whole, Elon's 2021 target is 1 million vehicles delivered. So far this year, they've done 385,000. So roughly speaking, what's that? 615,000 cars to be delivered in the remaining 6 months. And this is absolutely doable. If you think about Giga Berlin and Giga Texas coming online and hopefully starting to deliver by the end of the year. You've got Model S production, as I mentioned, is ramping up to full capacity in Q3. The Model X is probably doing the same and hopefully will just be kind of shortly behind that. And the fact that Q4, naturally is traditionally the biggest quarter for the company. This is almost certainly going to be yet another groundbreaking year for Tesla. And I've been following those quarterly earnings calls that I mentioned for some time now. And a few years ago, certainly before the 3 and kind of the first year of the Model 3 being released, they were nail biters, right? It was always, did Tesla turn over a profit? Did they deliver enough cars? Where's the next level of funding coming from and stuff? I'm pleased to say now they're no longer nail biting. They're almost quite boring, which is a good thing, because there's no concern around Tesla turning a profit. They smash it out the park every quarter. In fact, the question now is, to what extent did Tesla blow the roof off of this quarter? So that's the global numbers, and that's all well and good. But if we turn our attention to the UK, what do these quarterly announcements mean for the UK? Well, good news here as well. So in June, the Model 3 was the highest selling vehicle in the UK, full stop. Not the highest selling EV, not the highest selling 5-door family saloon, the highest selling vehicle, full stop. According to Yahoo Finance, quote, the Tesla Model 3 has topped a list of best-selling cars in the UK in June as drivers shift towards electric and hybrid vehicles ahead of a ban on petrol and diesel sales. The Society of Motor Manufacturers and Traders, SMMT, said on Monday that Tesla's Model 3 was the best-selling car in Britain last month with 5,468 sold. Tesla outsold its nearest rival, the Volkswagen Golf, by more than 800 vehicles, end quote. I mean, again, what an achievement. I've got the list in front of me for the most cars sold in June. And do you know what? Just seeing Tesla's name in and amongst the likes of, your Volkswagens, your Fords, your BMWs, these manufacturers, they're the staple manufacturers of the auto industry. And not only is Tesla involved in this list, but they're at the top of this list. That is just awesome. Now, I have to point out as well, I do have the other list in front of me, which is the year-to-date numbers sold. So as of the end of June, what's the most cars sold in the UK from the 1st of January 2021? And, unfortunately, Tesla aren't sat in the top 10 as it stands. First and second place goes to the Vauxhall Corsa and the Ford Fiesta, respectively. But I have been known to make a cheeky prediction on the Tesla Time podcast. I'm going to give you one now again. And that is, I believe that the Model 3 and the Model Y will be at the top of this list, the top of the most cars sold this year list. I reckon, when should I say? I'm going to say by the end of next year. And that's assuming that Tesla are okay ramping up that Model Y production out of Giga Berlin. I really think we're going to see, the new era of Tesla UK owners. And that is awesome. Elon did indeed tweet about delivery numbers this week. In his first tweet, he said, quote, "Congrats Tesla team on over 200,000 cars built and delivered in Q2 despite many challenges." He's actually put double exclamation mark there. I think we can all infer what challenges he's referring to there. Interestingly enough, though, he did then take to Twitter yesterday to say, quote, "And by 2060, Tesla production will exceed the mass of the universe," end quote. So Elon has big goals. Of course, he's joking, he's being flippant, but to be fair to him, he's actually responding to a post which was effectively assessing what would the next 10 years look like if Tesla continue on this 50% year-on-year growth rate, right? And I mean, I don't know the mass of the universe, but you know what? He's got a point here, right? So from 1 million vehicles, so if we assume that Tesla deliver 1 million vehicles in 2021, with a 50% growth rate year on year, Tesla would be at around 57 to 58 million cars by 2031, which is just bonkers numbers, right? And just kind of gives you that feel, just gives you that idea of this crazy trajectory that the company is on. Now, by the way, actually, whilst we're just going back to that Yahoo article really quickly, they did actually make some really good points around just general electrification of the UK auto industry. Lucy Harley McCowan goes on to say, quote, "Tesla is riding a wave of consumer interest in electric vehicles in the UK. Sales of battery-powered cars and plug-in hybrids both rose by more than 100% last month. Combined, battery, electric and plug-in hybrid vehicles accounted for 17.2% of the new vehicles hitting the roads. The latest SMMT research shows electrification of the auto industry could create up to 40,000 new jobs in Britain by 2030. Last week, for example, Nissan revealed plans for a £1 billion, $1.4 billion gigafactory in Sunderland as part of an electric vehicle expansion," end quote. So, again, this is a Tesla podcast, right? But we have to kind of pause and look at, the 30,000 foot view of things and just kind of say how great it is to see other manufacturers investing so heavily in their EV portfolios. Now, the only thing I take issue with that Lucy said here is Tesla is riding a wave of consumer interest in electric vehicles. I personally think that Tesla, have a big part in causing said wave rather than riding it. Would this kind of investment, like we're seeing from Nissan here, would this kind of investment happen anyway without Tesla? The honest answer is probably yes. But would it have happened this quickly and this soon? Without Tesla's success, without all the other car manufacturers looking up at the top of those lists at the likes of Tesla? Honestly, no. So Tesla are absolutely achieving their goal of driving electrification on our roads. And for that, I guess we have to thank them. Thank you, Tesla. The Model 3 Standard Range Plus unavailable in the UK until November 2021. This is a really interesting one. This is actually sent in to me this week from Ryan in Guildford. So Ryan, thank you so much for listening and also getting in contact. TeslaTimePodcast@gmail.com. Ryan sent me an email just basically explaining that he's looking at ordering a Model 3 Standard Range Plus, but the estimated delivery time is November. So I went and checked this out for myself on the Design Centre, and he's absolutely right. Now, we know that demand for all things Tesla is huge, right, globally. But this is, I believe, this is the longest lead time we've ever seen for the Model 3 in the UK since it arrived on our shores in June 2019. Now, currently as it stands, to give you kind of a full picture of things, the Long Range 3 is saying an estimated date of September. The Performance 3 is August estimated delivery date. Now, September and August is probably the time frame that it's probably the time frame you'd expect. Even September and August is quite a way away, although that could be down to demand, to be fair. But November is the longest we've ever seen. Now, I ordered my long range in February and I got it delivered in March, and they could have delivered it sooner actually. But yeah, the Standard Range Plus in November, that has kicked off a big rumour mill online around, in all the Tesla owners forums and on the Reddit columns and stuff all around. Does this mean that the Model Y is coming to the UK shores sooner than we first thought? To give my view on this, let me just hit you with some facts around the Model Y. We know the Model Y is coming to European markets via Giga Berlin. We know Giga Berlin is not complete yet. We saw photos leaked out of the production of the Gigafactory, and still looks like, robots are in place, but still looks like quite a long way to go. We know that deliveries of the Model Y to the UK is scheduled for the end of this year, with ramping up taking place into the first half of 2022. Is this gap, in time, in preparation for those shipments to begin? I think that's wishful thinking. But what I do think this could mean, right, is we saw when the newest Model Y came out in the US, there was a standard range plus, a long range, and a performance. And after about 2 weeks of it being out, Tesla actually pulled the standard range plus. Elon tweeted about it at the time, saying it was something along the lines of, the standard range plus Y doesn't quite match the level of range that, we have at Tesla. It's not quite good enough, basically. But this week, the Model Y standard range plus became available in China. Now, you remember last week I talked to you guys about the Wuling Mini, which is the highest selling EV in China. It's the highest selling by a mile. And although the Model 3 is doing great, the Wuling Mini is like quadruple its numbers. Now, it's cheap, the Wuling Mini, but it only goes, I can't remember what the range was. It's something like 90, 100 miles or something. It's very small range. And I think Tesla are going, okay, we don't necessarily need to put such big battery packs in these cars for the Chinese market. So let's put the standard range plus in China back on the shelf as an option. And I can certainly see this being the case for the UK, for the Model Y. Now, am I right? Am I wrong? I don't know at the moment. It is just speculation. But our natural, the geography, first of all, states that we don't drive as far as those in the US. We don't have as far to go because our country is considerably smaller. And also online, according to, the range changes depending on your source, but everyone agrees that our regular daily drive is shorter than an average US citizen's regular daily drive. So perhaps we will see the standard range plus, definitely one to look out for. This car, by the way, that you're looking at, Ryan, the Model 3 standard range plus, I believe is pound for pound the best value car that you can buy today. Not just Tesla, car. So if you are able to fight the urge and you are able to wait, I would definitely recommend that you do so. And if you do, power to you. Good luck, and I hope you fall in love with your Tesla just like I have and just like many of our other listeners have. Good luck, Ryan, and thanks again for getting in touch. So let's do something that we've not actually done yet on the Tesla Time podcast, and it's remiss of me because we're now episode 5. Let's talk about the CyberTruck, because this week the CyberTruck was confirmed to be getting rear wheel steering. Before I jump into that, let's just talk about the CyberTruck, okay? So to introduce the CyberTruck to you, it's along with the Roadster, the Tesla Cybertruck is the second major Tesla vehicle outside of the mainline S3, X and Y lineup. Now, what is it? Well, as the name suggests, it's a pickup truck. It sits 6 people and it's equipped with a ginormous 6.5-foot bed in the back, which they call the Cybertruck Vault. And that bed is covered with a retractable cover which folds down into the body of the vehicle and can be pulled out across the bed, locking across the top. Firstly, why are Tesla releasing a Cybertruck? Why are they, pickup truck, why? Well, simply put, it's a US market grab. The highest selling vehicle in the US for the last 10 years or something ridiculous is the Ford F-Series, which is their series of pickup trucks, right? Like the Ford F-150 being the most famous one, right? Now, in America, pickup trucks are extremely popular, okay? So, of course, it's a big pie and Tesla want their slice of that pie. Now, so you've got this market grab in one hand, but what's interesting is in the other hand, in parallel to this, you then have the design of this vehicle. The design of the Cybertruck is, in the UK, what we call Marmite, okay? Now, you either love it or you hate it. If you've been living under a rock for the last 2 years, go on Google and type it in and you'll see what the Cybertruck looks like. Me personally, and it's design, right? So, it's completely, it's your own opinion. Everyone has different opinions. My personal opinion is that the Cybertruck looks incredible. Like, I just love it. Like, to be candid with you, I don't care if you're a Tesla fan, a car fan, it doesn't matter. When you're walking in your local area and you see a Tesla Cybertruck for the first time, I promise you will stop and you will uncontrollably open your mouth in aghast. Like, this thing looks like nothing you've ever seen before. And by the way, it's stainless steel. Like, when did you ever see a stainless steel car other than the DeLorean? Like, it's insane, right? Now, Elon said at the launch event, which is back in 2019, it's almost 2 years ago now, he said, quote, "Cybertruck is built with an exterior shell made for ultimate durability and passenger protection. Starting with a nearly impenetrable exoskeleton, every component is designed for superior strength and endurance. From ultra-hard 30 times cold-rolled stainless steel structural skin all the way to Tesla armoured glass," end quote. So this thing is, like I said in the intro, it's a behemoth, right? It's very unique. You love it or hate it. Now, it's going to be coming in 3 models, single, dual and tri-motor. And the pricing, for the UK markets isn't quite confirmed yet. Although at that Cybertruck event that I mentioned, Elon did confirm that pricing will start at $39,900. So $40,000 before incentives, but there will be more models which will be around $50,000 and $70,000, which is obviously, now we know it's single, dual and tri-motor, you can work that out. Now, again, pinch of salt here because this was almost 2 years ago and a lot has happened since, but that kind of gives you an idea of how much these things are going to cost. Now, where will it be built? Well, the answer to that at the moment is Giga Texas, which, as we know, is being the Gigafactory itself is being built at the moment. Although Elon has confirmed in the past that a smaller Cybertruck that will, be able to fit in European roads and UK country roads and stuff, a smaller Cybertruck will be coming to non-US markets. At the moment, that's all we know. We don't know when that's going to be. We don't know where it's going to be built. I would think that is probably going to come out of Giga Berlin and they're going to develop an extra production line in Giga Berlin eventually. But we don't know that yet, right? Again, that's speculation. Now, back to the headline. Rear wheel steering, if you are into your trucks and stuff, this is huge and it's unique, right? So Elon tweeted this week, quote, "Friday afternoons are usually Tesla design studio time. Cybertruck will be almost exactly what has been shown. We're adding rear wheel steering so it can do tight turns and maneuver with high agility. Lots of other great things coming," end quote. So to kind of see what rear wheel steering looks like, I would definitely recommend you go online and check out the trailer for the Hummer EV. Right, you can find it on YouTube and stuff, because the Hummer EV, I mean, there's others, but to my knowledge, it's the only one off the top of my head I know that can do this rear wheel steering. Now, Hummer call it the crab walk. And if you have RWS, what it means is you have 2 options, right? Either the back wheels, the rear wheels, can turn in the same direction as the front wheels. So if you imagine that you're in let's say you're in a parallel parking space, right? And you want to get out of it, but you're in a ginormous truck, right? You can turn your front wheels right and you can turn your rear wheels right, and you can kind of come out of the space kind of forward sideways, if that makes sense, if you can kind of picture that. Your other option, of course, is to turn them the other way. And what that means is, if your front wheels turn right and your rear wheels turn left, what that means is the car will then spin on its axis. Now, obviously, it won't be directly on its axis unless it's a 90% turn. We don't know, but I'd very much doubt that. But what that means is your turning circle is the radius of your turn is reduced significantly. So again, if you're driving, we don't want to be finding Cybertrucks, in down alleyways that have just got stuck, right? So it's going to add that agility and flexibility. And I know, again, those US markets that love their pickup trucks, they're getting very excited about this tweet from Elon. And don't forget, he mentions here, what does he say at the end? Lots of other great things coming. So this is a car that has been pre-ordered by hundreds of thousands of people, and it just keeps getting better and better before it even comes out, which is probably the most Tesla thing ever. Again, I'll be bringing you more information as we receive it on the Tesla Cybertruck, so lock in here at the Tesla Time podcast throughout the coming months. Now, before we wrap up the show, I must give a shout out to this guy that I met this week who ended up having a really good conversation. And let me give you some context. So I'm at a supercharger. I'm about, 30 miles away from my house, and I'm at this supercharger, and this car pulls in, right? Now, this car isn't a Tesla. In fact, it's a combustion engine vehicle. So all the Tesla owners are kind of looking over like, what's going on? So he kind of caught my attention. He pulls in front of my car, and he winds down his window. And he says to me, excuse me, I have a whole bunch of questions. Can I ask you them? And I said, yeah, sure, no problem. How can I help? Anyway, he gets out his car and he explains to me that he's been looking into purchasing an EV for quite some time now, but every time he does any research online and stuff, there's so much information out there. It's such a learning curve that, he's just got frustrated and has always given up. And I said to him, I completely understand that. What are your issues? What are your questions? Hit me with them. And we ended up having this really good conversation. And I actually noticed, funny enough, that a lot of his questions were about superchargers and public charging and charging at supermarkets, grocery stores, and connectors and stuff. And I said to him, let me ask you a question, right? And I felt like when I asked him this question, you could kind of see the penny drop. I said to him, for argument's sake, right, if you had a free reservoir of fuel, gas, petrol, diesel, whatever, a free reservoir of fuel at your house, right? And every night you got home and you plugged your car into that reservoir and it filled up your tank. So every time you were leaving your home in the morning, you were leaving with a full tank of fuel. My question is, if you had that, how often would you use a petrol station? And you could kind of see him, he kind of paused, he kind of looks up at the sky and he's kind of chewing on it a little bit. And he's like, that's actually a really good point. And I think he's definitely right. There is so much information out there. It must be extremely daunting jumping in for the first time. So I guess, first of all, thank you. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to get his name, which I do feel really, really bad about. And I do apologise because I said to him about this podcast. So, who knows? He might be listening. And if you are, thank you so much for talking to me. It was really interesting getting your point of view on EVs. And I hope that I was able to help. But I guess the message, for all my listeners is if someone has a question around EVs or a question around your Tesla or something, just take the time to take them through it, because it is confusing, it is daunting, and this guy raised a really good point. So thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate our conversation. Now, thank you to everyone else for listening to the Tesla Time podcast this week, especially a huge thank you to Ryan from Guildford, who emailed the show. Thank you so much for being involved. I won't lie, and it's embarrassing. When I saw your email as one of the first people to email the show, I did get excited. It did make me really happy. So thank you so much. I really appreciate your support. And if you want to be part of the show, you absolutely can. You have two options. You can either email me, or you can email a voice clip of yourself and you can actually be on the show. The email address is teslatimepodcast@gmail.com. Perhaps you have a question. Perhaps you're looking at getting a Tesla and you have a question about the world of Tesla. Perhaps you're stuck with something on your Tesla, whatever it might be. Or you're hearing a rumor online or something you want me to discuss. Whatever it might be, by all means, reach out, teslatimepodcast@gmail.com, and you can be part of the show. Hopefully, next week on episode 6, we will have real world accounts from real people with the FSD version 9 beta running in their cars. That will be awesome, especially in the UK, like roundabouts. It has to work on roundabouts in the UK. So fingers crossed we'll have some more reactions to that. And for all the other Tesla news, keep it here on the Tesla Time podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Have a fantastic week. Stay safe. Until the next time. Peace.